Hi friends, welcome back to my Cozy Crafty Cabin. My name is Ryan. So today is day 3 of my 12 Days of Christmas in July Crafty series. And today I'm going to show you how to make some gift card holders in 3 different styles. So this first one is an Easel style gift card holder with a pocket on the front and writing space on the back. You could absolutely choose to have the pocket on the back side and just embellish the front with a cut apart or however you like. The second one is a more basic little gift card pocket where I basically turned a mini gatefold style card into a gift card holder. And this last one is an envelope style gift card holder where I adhered 2 mini envelopes together and added a 1/4-inch spine. So I'll walk you through all the steps to make each one of these styles today. So here are the 3 paper pads I used for these. They're all 6x6 paper pads from Echo Park or Cartabella, the Christmas Village, Santa Claus Lane, and Letters to Santa. So we'll begin with this, I think what would be like the most basic of the 3 style gift card holders today. This cute little just kind of gift card pocket. I use papers from this Christmas Village paper pad that is by Cartabella, and the papers are gorgeous. I love it. And this is still available on Echo Park's website. So to make this style gift card holder, you will need a piece that measures 4 by 6 inches. That's going to be your base. You'll need a small strip that measures 1 inch by 4 3/4 inches. And you'll of course need a cut apart. So I used a 2 by 3 size cut apart from the paper pad, but you could absolutely use a 2 by 2 size as well. So this is a very clean and simple, easy gift card holder. First things first is we're just gonna make 2 score lines on our 4 by 6 base. So on the 6-inch side, you're gonna score at 1.5 inches and then 4.5 inches, and that is it. And then we're gonna fold down on those score lines. Next, I'm just kind of deciding, okay, which side do I want to be the outside of my gift card holder? Which side do I want to be the inside? You should probably make this decision before you cut your paper because you want to pay attention to like the orientation and everything. But I decided to use the dark pattern for the outside of my gift card holder, even though it's not as cute, but with my cut apart in particular that I'm using, I just feel like it stood out better with this dark background. So now all we're going to do is you're going to take that 1-inch piece and we're going to glue it down to the bottom flap, if you will, to make our pocket basically. And basically, guys, this is like because I don't like using wet glue. So if you like wet glue, I'm sure you could just like add a thin, bead of wet glue to the far left and far right edges, of this bottom flap to make your pocket and be done. But this is my way of, getting away with not using wet glue and creating a pocket. So I'm folding over that 1-inch strip, and you're gonna have like 3/8 of an inch basically on each side to where I can add my double-sided tape to those little tabs that then get glued down to my base and make my pocket. I hope that makes sense. Now what I forgot to do, and I recommend doing too though, is adding some adhesive to like along the whole strip there before you glue it down, so then so that whole piece is like nicely glued down and attached to the card base. Okay, next we're gonna add our 2 by 3 cut apart, but you can also use a 2 by 2 cut apart instead. I decided to round the corners And then I'm using foam tape, and you just want to add some to the top of your cut apart. And then, because we're going to, stick that down to that top panel of our gift card holder. And then I use Velcro dots, and I put that on the bottom of the cut apart so that, it closes and opens nicely. And there you go. That's how you make this first style gift card holder. Super simple, but super cute. Okay, so next we're gonna make this easel style gift card holder. I think this is so cute because you can display it. Now, I did mine to where I put like my cut apart in the pocket. I have that being like the front of the gift card holder and then writing space on the back. But you could totally make it to where like the pocket's on the back and then you embellish the front with like your cut apart and whatever you want to use to embellish it. I think that would be really nice as well. So for this style, I pulled papers from this Christmas Village 6x6 paper pad by Cartabella. And you'll also need, though, a piece of cardstock, and you'll need the base measures 4¼ by 11 inches for this easel card base. So that's great for if you have like 8½ by 11 cardstock. You just have to cut it in half. And then you'll also need a strip that measures 1¾ by 6 inches. I use that to make my pocket. And then, of course, a 3x3 cut apart. So those came from the 6x6 paper pad. So first things first, we're going to score our base and fold it so that we get our easel style, gift card holder. So on the 11-inch side, you're going to score your paper at 2 inches, 5¾ inches, 9½ inches, 10 inches, and 10½ inches. So again, that's 2 inches, 5¾ inches, 9½ inches, 10 inches, and 10½ inches. Now what I ended up doing with mine, because my scoreboard like stops around like 6 or so inches. So I first scored it at 2 and 5¾ but then I, rotated it 180 degrees, and then I ended up scoring it at 1/2 inch, 1 inch, and 1½ inches to make those, score lines that would have been at 9½, 10, and 10½ if you have a long, like 12-inch scoreboard. So after you make your score lines, it's time to fold your paper to form the easel. So starting with that first score line we made at 2 inches, that's going to be on the bottom, okay? So you're gonna with that score line on the bottom, you're gonna fold it upwards, and then the next one you're gonna fold downwards, and then I flip it over to where those 3 1/2-inch score lines are at the bottom, and you're gonna alternate how you fold those. So it's first you're gonna fold it upwards, then the next one downwards, and the next one upwards. So it kind of forms like a W. So that's our easel base, and before I glue the easel base together, I like to glue down the piece that measures 1¾ inches by 6 inches. So this is how I make my pocket, again, without using wet glue. So I first just decide which side of the paper I want to be showing, and then I take that piece and I center it the best I can, along that 2-inch panel that's going to become our pocket, and I just gently like fold over where I create these kind of 2 tabs that will then glue down to the back of the paper, and that's how we get our pocket. Again, if you just want to use wet glue to make your pocket, that's totally fine, but this is my method for basically avoiding that. But then it's cute to add, another pattern paper. So now that our pocket is formed, I then add adhesive to that 1/2 inch like tab to then glue to the front of our easels so that, you know, the easel is glued all together now. And now we have this cute little easel style gift card holder that can be like displayed. I love it. So I made some of these in my Halloween and June Crafty series, and this idea was not mine at all. Carrie's Crafts pointed it out to me, and I've just been hooked ever since. So thank you so much again for sharing this awesome idea. She made like a 4x4, or it's 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 easel card, and then decorated it with a 4x4 cut apart. And ever since, yeah, like I saw her video, I just like wanted to make just like so many versions, I guess, of like an easel style card. So I love this with the pocket. So all that's left to do for these is just to add our 3x3 cut aparts to the front. I like to use foam tape, and I just, you know, add it along the bottom of the cut apart. You want to make sure it's not going to go over, you know, the top edge of your pocket. And then I just add a mat to the back so that you can write a nice little message to someone, whoever you give this to. So last, we're going to make this envelope like booklet style gift card holder, where essentially it's just too many envelopes that are glued together. I added a 3x4 card because, you know, why not? There's 2 pockets there, so one could be for a card and one you could tuck your gift card inside. But yeah, it's 2 envelopes that are glued together, and then we added a 1/4 inch spine. So this idea is totally inspired by Lyric Lover Crafts. She made some, I think she called them envelope flip books a few years back, where she did like 3 together, and they turned out so cute. So this is just gluing 2 envelopes together. I used papers from this Santa Claus Lane 6x6 paper pad collection, and I'm deciding which ones I want to be like kind of the outside covers and which ones I want to be like the inside parts of the envelopes. So this was like blurry, sorry, I couldn't get my camera to focus, but for this tool that I'm using by We Are Memory Makers, it's like their all-in-one tool. For a 3x4 card, you need to make the envelope for a 3x4 card, you need a square that measures 5 3/4 by 5 3/4. So this is different than what I'm used to, because I'm used to using a 6x6 piece of paper, but I'm following their guide for this tool, so I'm using a 5 3/4 inch square to make my 2 envelopes. So I'm just cutting down my paper first, and then I just follow the instructions for this specific tool to, you know, score and punch my envelopes. But you can, if you don't have an envelope maker, you can absolutely, you absolutely don't need one. You could totally, you know, make some with just like a ruler. And I actually have a video that I did recently where I show you how to make envelopes without an envelope maker and just your roller, basically. I was having a hard time seeing my score lines. It was getting dark, so I had to turn on my lamp. But anyways, once you've made your 2 envelopes, just be sure, you know, whatever tool you're using or however you're making your envelopes, you're making a size for a 3x4 card. But once you have your envelopes, you know, scored and folded, we just need to add a 1/4 inch spine to the tops of our envelopes So what I like to do is I line up that top score line that's going to be the top of your envelope. So where that top, flap is, I line it up with a score line on my scoreboard. It doesn't matter which one. I think I had it at like 3 inches here. But once it's lined up along a score line, I just, to the right, go over a 1/4 inch. So from that score line, you're going to move to a 1/4 inch to the right. So for me, if I have it lined up at 3 inches, so then I make a score line at 3 1/4 inches. And that's how we make our spine. So like I do that for, you're going to do that for both envelopes. And then I'm just gluing together our envelopes. So I'm adding adhesive to that bottom like triangle flap so that it gets glued down to those side flaps. Next, I decide like which envelope I want to be on the top and which one on the bottom. And even though the like gingerbread one is a cuter design, so I would have preferred that on the bottom so that you get to see it, more of that pattern on the front of these gift card holders. I didn't think about it, and like the pattern's upside down if I used it on the bottom. So I ended up using it on the top instead. Once you decide like which envelope is going to be on the top and which one's going to be on the bottom, you're going to add glue to that top flap of the bottom envelope. But just make sure you don't go past that score line that additional score line that we made for the spine. So you're going to add glue, and you're going to glue this to the back of the top envelope. Now, normally what I like to do when I do things like this is I use like the edge of my scoreboard to like line things up nice and straight, but I didn't realize that the one envelope was actually kind of like ended up being slightly longer than another. So I didn't like how it wasn't centered. It like bothered me. So I ended up gently like pulling off. I was able to remove the envelope without anything like ripping or tearing, and then reattached it and just tried to center it as best as I could. But yeah, when you glue these together, so yeah, that top flap of the bottom envelope is getting glued down to the back of your top envelope, but just make sure pay attention to the score lines, and you don't want to go past that score line that we added to the envelope, right? You want it to just be able to, open and close and fold nicely. So once you glue your envelopes together, I like to add Velcro dot to our top envelope flap, and that finishes really the base of this gift card holder. And then since there are 2 pockets, I figured why not add a little card to go with our gift card holder. So I just make a simple 3x4 size card. I pulled out one of the 3x4 cut aparts from the paper pad. And then what I did, since I'm using a 3x4 cut apart, I just trimmed off 1/8 of an inch on all 4 sides, which, oh, I should have looked up who it was. Whoever gave me that tip recently for like starting with your blade in the middle of the paper rather than like the top or bottom to make like these these smaller trimmings, that's 1/8 of an inch. What a great tip. That worked perfectly. So thank you so much. But anyway, so yeah, I'm trimming off 1/8 of an inch on all 4 sides so that we'll have like a 1/4 inch border when I glue it to our card base. So for the card base, I just used a 4x4 piece of cardstock, and I scored it at 1 inch. I made these mini 3x4 cards in my video for day 2. So this is one of the versions I made if you saw that video. But so yeah, I'm just adding this quick and simple 3x4 card, and then you can add a gift card in the other pocket, and those are done. So here are all the 3 different style gift card holders all together. We have the mini gatefold style pocket holders that I showed first, the Easel style gift card holders, and then the envelope booklet style holders. I'd love to know which style is your favorite. I honestly think I might love the first one the best, even though I think it's probably the most simple out of the three styles. I think it could just be the paper. Like, the paper collections are really beautiful, and you get to see more of the pattern paper in that first style, so that's probably why I'm gravitating to that one more. But yeah, those are the three style gift card holders I wanted to share for day 3 of my 12 Days of Christmas in July series. I'll have my playlist for the series linked in my description if you're interested in checking out any of my other videos for this series. And I actually didn't intend to have like the number of ideas for a project for each like coordinating day, like how I had, 2 styles of the mini cards on day 2 and 3 styles of the gift card holders for day 3 today. But I think I'm actually going to try to continue that trend and share however many ideas like with the coordinating day. I'd already made plans for like what I wanted to do, so I'll have to kind of get creative and make some adjustments, but I think it would be super fun, so we'll see if I'm able to continue that trend for the rest of the series. Thank you again so much for watching, for liking my videos, for subscribing. I really hope you enjoyed today's video and are enjoying this series. Stay cozy, and I'll be back soon for day 4.